Welcome to the Shit You Should Wipe podcast with me, Dr. Debbie, where I teach you how to wipe the shit in your life and on your mind that's holding you back without having to turn your life upside down, become a completely different person, or burn old bridges, but simply by potty training your brain and bringing more you into your life. I promise it's not rocket science, it's just mental hygiene and you can do it too. Hello, dear listeners, and thank you for tuning back in. So today I want to talk about goal setting. I know. For some of you, it's going to be like, oh, so boring and slightly annoying. But if you're like me, slightly type A, and like things organized, you might be like, yay, goal setting. The reason I want to talk about it, it's because it is a great tool that I see misused a lot of the time and also underestimated or weaponized because it is misused. The way I look at goal setting is as a great tool to gain and maintain clarity. And this is why I want to talk about it today. In fact, in a coaching relationship, goal setting is one of the early discussions we have to decide what goals we're going to be working towards. Not only because it allows us to know if we're making progress and keep motivated, but also because it keeps us focused and facilitates, and that's the part I like the most, it facilitates choice and decision making. So in today's episode, I will explain the 3 types of goals that I like to play with, which one I find most useful, and why sometimes goal setting does not work, and in that case, where to look and what to do. So are you ready? Let's go. So let's start with a little bit of theory. When it comes to goal setting, and according to what I've learned in business school and from goal setting research, there are different types of goals. And there's generally 2 main categories. One contains what we call the outcome and performance goals. So an outcome goal is when you achieve a standard set by someone else, like let's say winning a race. A performance goal is when you achieve a goal set by yourself, like finishing a race. They're both about the destination or the finish line. So they're what I would call a destination goal. That's the first category of goal. So destination goal, or what I'll call outcome goal. The second type of goal are what we call process goals. And they're usually about the journey or about forming habits that will help you achieve your outcome goal. And it's been proven many times over that the best way to achieve an outcome or performance goal is to focus on the process. So if you want to get to the destination, you need to focus on the journey. So let me give you a few examples of outcome versus process goals. One classic example is weight loss. If you want to lose, let's say 5 kilos or pounds, doesn't matter. Rather than focusing on losing a certain amount of weight every day or every week, you'd be better off focusing on the habit of walking 3 times a week, let's say. And it doesn't even matter if you do X amount of time each day. It's just getting in the habit of doing it. What I like to do are mini low commitment habits. So one that I'm currently working on right now is to do a 7-minute workout every single morning during the week. And I like that goal, and I did put a time on it because it helps me walk my brain back from wanting me to not do it. Because 7 minutes is so low commitment that in reality, when I don't want to do it in the morning, 7 minutes is about the time it takes for my kids to brush their teeth, wash their hands, put their shoes on. So the reality is I do have time to do it. Okay. Let me use another example. And let's use this podcast, for example. So an outcome goal for this podcast could be, I want my podcast to be downloaded 1,000 times or 10K. I really don't know what the standards are. But a process goal would be, every Monday until the end of the year, I will put out one useful episode. Maybe with one main idea, one actionable tip. That will help people slowly and safely wipe shit off their brain. That is my process goal. And it is more likely to get me to reach the outcome goal. So that's the difference between process goal and outcome goals. But before we move on to the third type of goal, I want us to notice two things. The first thing is the relationship between destination goals and journey goals and control. Can you see how an outcome goal or a destination goal is something you potentially do not have control over? For example, with the same performance on your part, let's say you're running at 8K an hour. You could win or lose the race depending on who's running that day. Yeah, similarly, I do not have control over whether people decide to download my podcast or not. But your process goal is usually you dependent. For example, if you cross the finish line, or if you do your 7-minute workout, or if you actually stick to making one podcast episode per week, is dependent on you. And this is one of the beauty of a process goal. It's you dependent. The second thing I want us to talk about, and I want to pause for, is to discuss why sometimes even the process goals do not work. And let's go back to the weight loss example. In a meta-analysis from 2001 of 29 long-term weight loss studies, they reported that more than half of the lost weight was regained within 2 years. And by 5 years, more than 80% of the lost weight was regained. So why is that? And more important than that, some people do not even get started with losing any weight. Why? By the way, I'm not a weight loss coach, but it's an easy example. Well, obviously, I cannot categorically say why people don't achieve their goals, because each individual is different. But I want to offer a perspective or a clue that you might want to investigate if you're struggling with your goal. And I definitely investigate with my clients who generally come to me because they haven't been able to stick to their goal or achieve their goals on their own. So here it is. When your body, whether it is your actual body or your brain, resists a goal, you have to wonder why. When your body resists a goal, it is trying to protect you from something. Because your body has its own intelligence. For some people, putting or rather keeping weight on is a way of having an armor that protects them. And there are many stories out there about especially women who have been molested or abused will keep weights on to protect themselves. For others, procrastinating is a way of shielding from the pain, the shame, or the grief associated with doing the activity you're procrastinating on. So when it's a body versus mind situation, the body will eventually win. Okay, you might willpower your way into winning 1 or 2 or 3 battles, but eventually the body will win the war, which can look like a burnout, for example. One of my teachers, called Jeffrey Tambor, always says, "What you resist persists." And I love this phrase and I use it very often. And in this case, when you resist your weight gain or your procrastination by willpowering your way through, the weight gain or procrastination will persist. So one of the things we do in coaching is to stop resisting and look for the body intelligence. Okay, so side note number 2 was longer than I expected, so let me summarize so far. 1, we've established the difference between process and outcome goals, or between destination versus journey, or it's outside of my control versus inside of my control. 2nd, we've discussed potential reasons why sometimes goal setting doesn't work. And it's generally because your body is trying to protect you from pain, either trauma, grief, actual physical pain, or sometimes rejection. So now for the last part of the episode, I want to tell you about another type of goal I've been playing with this year. While I still love the frame of outcome versus process goal, both of them are very action-oriented. And a lot of us are already trying to control everything with our heads and our actions. So I've set myself some goals about what I want to feel more of or feel less of. They're goals, they're things that I'd be happy to achieve even if they didn't get me to my outcome goal. What? Let me give you an example. I could be making 1 podcast episode per week and feel like shit about it. Right? So I set different goals that I call happy goals. So in my current example, my winning goals, or my happy goals, are the same I've been working on all year. And I will share them with you. 1 is losing fear of not delivering. 1 is losing fear of being judged. Another one is to learn to unapologetically be myself. And a 4th one is learn to experience more fun. And these happy goals help me in 2 different ways. First, they help me decide which actions to take. Second, they keep me motivated. For example, when I was deciding whether to start this podcast, I looked at my happy goals and decided whether the podcast would help me achieve them. So in other words, could doing this podcast help me lose my fear of not delivering? Could it help me lose my fear of being judged? Could it help me be more unapologetically myself? And could it help me experience more fun? And it turns out the answer was yes for all these questions. And this is how my happy goals help me decide which actions to take. Now, once I've made the decision to start the podcast, the same happy goals keep me motivated. If I do this podcast and no one ever downloads it, it's okay, because it will have been another exercise towards being myself, losing fear of judgment, and not delivering. Then you might say, well, how do you know you've achieved them? Right? They're happy goals. Well, you feel it. And that is the point. It forces you to check inside of you regularly. And so you build the habit of checking in with your feelings and practicing what you want to feel. Right? You practice the habit of checking in with your feelings and practicing what you want to feel. And this is the beauty of happy goals. Voila. So, today's shift to wipe is to think that your goal is about the outcome or the destination. Your goal is about the journey. What steps you want to take, that is your process goal, and what you want to take away from your journey, that is your happy goal. Okay, let me repeat that. Your goal is about the journey. What steps you want to take, that is your process goals, and what you want to take away from the journey, even if you don't reach the top, and that is your happy goal. So your actionable tips for today are: 1. Define your outcome goal, your destination. Okay? Don't get too precious about them, because we know they're not the real deal. 2. Define your process goal. What is the habit or the steps you want to take regularly towards that goal? 3. Define your happy goal, the thing you want to get out of the experience, whether you achieve your goal or not. Okay, little sidebar here, because this is also exactly how you should approach coaching. Okay? Your outcome goal might be to start a business, or to stop procrastinating, or to stop feeling blah or not happy. That is your outcome goal. Your process goal would be just showing up every week to get coached. And then your happy goal would be, even if I didn't start my business in the end, what would I want to take away from that experience? Okay, back to regular scheduled program. So we said, 1, define your outcome goal. 2, define your process goal. 3, define your happy goal. 4, forget about your outcome goal. Like literally, take that piece of paper you've written your outcome goal on and put it in the bin, or fold it away and put it in a drawer so you forget about it for a few months. And 5, focus on your process and happy goal. Okay? And most of all, remember, your goal is the journey and the learning you want to get from the journey, not the destination. That's it for today. Bye.
And if you want fresh wipes and actionable tips every single week in your inbox, you better get on my email list. It's called the Brain Wipes. Also, make sure to download The Mental Offload. It's my free ebook to learn how to start wiping things off your to-do list. It's been known to help people save precious time and energy. It's also been called what everybody's psychic butthole needs.